Lesson 25. Direct and Indirect Speech. Icebreaker. In this chapter, we will talk about direct and indirect speech. Direct and indirect speech. Direct speech is when the exact words are replicated in speech marks, also called quotation marks. Indirect speech is when the words are reported by another person and they are not the exact words. Examples. Priya said to her brother, I enjoy playing cricket. Direct. Rohan said to her family, let's have a picnic this weekend. Direct. Priya told her brother that she enjoyed playing cricket. Indirect. Rohan suggested to her family that they should have a picnic that weekend. Indirect. Rules for changing direct speech to indirect speech. Direct speech can be changed to indirect speech and indirect speech can be changed to direct speech. To do this, there are some rules. These rules are as follows. Verb tenses shifted to the previous tense, into the past, if the reporting verb is in the past tense. The reporting verb said changes. The order of words sometimes changes. Pronouns and possessive adjectives change. Words that show place and time also change. Questions change to statements. Requests and orders change to positive statements with specific reporting verbs. Examples. The teacher said, complete your assignments on time. Direct speech. The teacher advised the students to complete their assignments on time. Indirect speech. I was reading a story book yesterday, said Ravi. Ravi said that he had been reading a storybook the day before. In sentence 2, the word your has been changed to their in the indirect speech. In sentence 4, the words that show time have been changed in the indirect speech. Changes in tenses. Let's look at the rules to change direct speech into indirect speech. The verb tenses, present, past, future, must be changed based on the reporting verb and the context. This is necessary because when converting direct speech into indirect speech, some time has already passed. The rules are mentioned in this table. Tense in direct speech. Tense in indirect speech. Simple present changes to simple past. Present continuous changes to past continuous. Present perfect changes to past perfect. Simple past changes to past perfect. Past continuous changes to past perfect continuous. Modals can, may, will, shall changes to could, might, would, should. Past perfect, no change, past perfect. Past perfect continuous, no change, past perfect continuous. Examples. Manoj said, I teach in a school. Direct speech in the present tense. Manoj said that he taught in a school. Indirect speech in the past tense. Shruti said, I am going to the market. Direct speech in the present continuous tense. Shruti said that she was going to the market. Indirect speech in the past continuous tense. Changes in personal pronouns and possessive adjectives. If the sentence has a pronoun or possessive adjective, it changes to when converting from direct speech to indirect speech. The rules for changing personal pronouns and possessive adjectives are mentioned in this table. Personal pronoun in direct speech. Pronoun in indirect speech. I changes to I, you, he, she. You changes to I, you, he, she, we, they. He, she, they changes to he, she, they. We changes to we, they. Possessive adjective in direct speech. Possessive adjective in indirect speech. My changes to my, your, his, her. Your changes to my, your, our, his, her, their. Our changes to our, their. His, her, their changes to his, her, their. Examples. I am writing the email, said Rahul. Direct speech. Rahul said that he was writing the email. Indirect speech. We want to go to the park, said Priya and Ravi. Direct speech. Priya and Ravi said that they wanted to go to the park. Indirect speech. Abira said to me, your pen is under the desk. Direct speech. Abira said to me that my pen was under the desk. Indirect speech. Changing words denoting time and position. When changing from direct speech to indirect speech, the words that show time or position are also changed. The rules for changing words of time and position are mentioned in this table. Words of time and place in direct speech. Words of time and place in indirect speech. This changes to that. These changes to those. Here changes to there. Now changes to then. Ago changes to before. Thus changes to so. Hence changes to thence. Come changes to go. Today changes to that day. Yesterday changes to the day before the previous day. Tomorrow changes to the next day, the coming day. Last week changes to the week before the previous week. Next week changes to the following week, the coming week. Next month changes to the coming month, the following month. Next year changes to the coming year, the following year. Examples. Rita said, I went to Puri last week. Rita said that she had gone to Puri the previous week. Dhriti asked, are you coming back next year? Dhriti asked me if I was coming back in the coming year. Changing assertive sentences from direct to indirect speech. A sentence that makes a statement is called an assertive sentence. They may be positive sentences, negative sentences, or true or false statements. To convert an assertive sentence into indirect speech, keep in mind all the rules already covered about changing tenses, pronouns, possessive adjectives, and words that show time and position. One more thing that changes is that the reporting verb said followed by two changes to told. Examples. Gargi said to me, I am writing a letter to my brother. Gargi told me that she was writing a letter to her brother. Bhargav said to Anjali, I will be coming late for the class. Bhargav told Anjali that he will be coming late for the class. My aunt said to Harun, don't be late for the birthday party. My aunt told Harun not to be late for the birthday party. Mr. Said said to Javed, lock up the shop before you leave. Mr. Said told Javed to lock up the shop before he left. Dr. Praful said to the station master, the trains are always late. Dr. Praful told the station master that the trains were always late. Changing interrogative sentences from direct to indirect speech. An interrogative sentence is a question. There are some rules followed to convert questions from direct speech to indirect speech. Remove the speech marks or quotation marks. Do not use that in indirect speech. Instead, use if, whether, or the question word provided. Turn the question into a statement in the indirect speech. Do not add the question mark at the end since it is now a statement. Use reporting verbs like ask or inquire instead of say or tell. Follow the same rules for changing tenses as for other sentences. Follow the following rules to change different types of questions. Type of question, verb, rule. Questions that can be answered with only yes or no. The question starts with helping verbs like is, was, have, has, had, and will. The words if or whether are used before the reported speech. If and whether are interchangeable. The sentence in the indirect speech is always in the positive. Questions that cannot be answered with only yes or no and require a sentence. The question starts with what, when, where, why, and how. The words if or whether are not used before the reported speech. The question is converted into a positive, assertive form and placed after the reporting verb. Examples. Hari asked, "Do you like papaya?" Hari asked me if I liked papaya. Roshan asked Chitra, "Have you ever played football?" Roshan asked Chitra whether she had ever played football. John asked me, "What are you doing here?" John asked me what I was doing there. Mrs. Rao asked Janvi, "Why did you break the cup?" Mrs. Rao asked Janvi why she had broken the cup. Changing imperative sentences from direct to indirect speech. An imperative sentence is a command, order, advice, or request. There are some things to keep in mind before converting commands or requests from direct speech to indirect speech. The mood of the command, order, advice, or request should be kept in mind while changing from direct speech to indirect speech. The second person, you, is used as the subject. The sentence in direct speech starts with a verb. If the direct speech is a request, then please is used at the beginning or end of the sentence. The rules to follow while converting imperative sentences from direct to indirect speech are: change the reporting verb as per the mood of the sentence. Change the verb to infinitive. Remove the speech marks and the comma. Use the word to connect the reporting verb to the rest of the sentence. Change do not in direct speech to not to in the indirect speech in case of negative imperative sentence. Or use forbade or prohibited to instead. Change reporting verbs said, said to advised, commanded, requested, or ordered depending on the mood of the sentence. Examples. Piali said to me, "Close the door." Piali requested me to close the door. Manav said to Mayank, "Please pass the salt." Manav requested Mayank to pass the salt. The librarian said to us, "Don't make any noise." The librarian advised us to not make any noise. The traffic policeman said to me, "Be careful while crossing the road." The traffic policeman cautioned me to be careful while crossing the road. Points to remember. Indirect speech is also called reported speech. Speech in direct speech is placed within speech or quotation marks. Each sentence in direct speech starts with a capital letter. Each sentence in reported speech ends with a full stop, an exclamation mark, or a question mark. The reporting clause is a clause which indicates that you are talking about what someone said or thought. Example. They said, "We will visit the zoo tomorrow." In this sentence, "they said" is the reporting clause. A full stop is used after the assertive reporting clause if it comes at the end of a sentence, and a comma is used if it comes at the beginning of a sentence. Some sentences in direct speech need many changes to be converted into indirect speech. Look closely to see you haven't missed any changes out. In indirect speech, when talking about universal truths, don't change the tense of the sentence in the speech marks. Example: the teacher said, "The moon goes around the earth." Direct speech. The teacher said that the moon goes around the earth. Indirect speech. Knowledge gained. Direct speech is when the exact words are replicated in speech marks or quotation marks. Indirect speech is when the words are reported by another person and they are not the exact words. There are several rules to convert direct to indirect speech depending on the kind of sentence the direct speech is in. Verb tenses shift to the previous tense into the past. The reporting verb said changes. The order of words sometimes changes. Personal pronouns and possessive adjectives change. Words that show place and time also change. In assertive sentences, the reporting verb said followed by to changes to told. Interrogative sentences change to statements, that is removed. Reporting verbs like ask and enquire are used and the question mark is not used. Imperative sentences change to positive statements with specific reporting verbs and the to infinitive is used. In negative imperative sentences, do not changes to not to or forbade or prohibited to are used.